Okay, so Pat McGrath have released a range of multifunctional. Oh my God. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my first impressions demo using these new Pat McGrath products. I have the eyeshadow quad and 2 shades of the blush sticks. So if you're interested in all of my thoughts and seeing these products in action, then keep watching. Okay, so Pat McGrath have released a range of multifunctional lip and cheek sticks. These are available in 6 shades and you get 7 grams of product for £27. They offer a soft buildable colour with a dewy luminous finish, lightweight non-sticky feel and hydrating active ingredients to offer you a glossy finish with a lustrous radiant reflection, major moisture and lush luminosity. So I picked up 2 shades of the colour Balm. We have Peach Lotus and Sunkissed Seduction. As part of this collection, Pat also released a 4-pan eyeshadow palette. This is Passion Fleur. And it contains a glimmering luminizer, 2 gleaming metallics, and a soft focus matte. And this eyeshadow palette will set you back £56. Now, as per Pat's website, there's nothing to say that either the palette or the colour balms are limited edition, so I have to assume that they are permanent. Pat also included a new shade of her highlighter and balm duo, and that does state that it is limited edition. This is the shade Extreme Cyber Lotus, which is a translucent coral with pink blue reflex pearls, and this will set you back £55, and that does state that it is a limited edition remix of the iconic duo for ultimate opalescent illumination and runway ready radiance. So that is a double-ended highlighter. Essentially, one shade has a color to it, that coral color, and the other side is like a sheer lumos, a sheer luminous balm. So I passed on that. I've never really been that interested in that double-ended highlighter. I've never tried it before. Doesn't really look like my cup of tea, but I did find myself very, very drawn to the eyeshadow and the cheek stick. So I'm very excited to try everything for the first time with you today and give you all of my thoughts. So without further ado, let's whack these products on my face and see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the matte shade on my Rephr 16. Whoa, that picked up a lot of product. The pigment, I mean, I forgot what I was working with here for a second. You know, Pat McGrath's mattes don't mess around. They don't come to play. They are incredibly pigmented. I would always usually advise that you start off very lightly. Otherwise, because they are like pigments, they can give you some trouble to blend out if you go in too heavily. But I forgot what we were dealing with for a second. Okay, I've been on my holidays. I don't know where I am. I barely know what's happening. I am befuddled. I'm in a state of confusion. So I lost my mind there for a second, and I definitely went heavier than I should have done, but everything was fine. It blended out actually very nice and easily and prettily, but you can see the difference, you know, with a lighter wash on this side, the shade looks like almost pinkier versus this side, which really has that purple to it, to the shade, because, you know, it was a heavier amount. So, you know, these shadows, especially Pat's mattes, rolls off the tongue, they're very versatile, you know, although there's one matte in there, which I really appreciate, because sometimes, you know, Pat will release lots of quads of hers that just don't have a matte. They're all shimmer, and I just love a matte. I need one in my life, you know. Otherwise I feel like I need to dip into another palette for a transitional shade or something. But what I love about them is that you can like build them on themselves, you know, very easily. They're very versatile, used lightly. You've got a bit of a wash and built up. You can get some richness, you know, in the crease without needing a second shade. You can just build with the same shade. I'm just trying to make this eye match the other one slightly. You know, at least my eyes can be the same today because my cheeks aren't going to be. Perfect. Very, very easy to blend, very easy to work with. When I swatched these shades, they all felt lovely and creamy, and especially this matte, that's a sort of shade, you know, that richer purpley, plummy tones usually don't swatch very well, but that one really did. You know, nice, creamy, pigmented swatches. Next, I'm going to go into Rose Fire Glow and my Sonia G Builder, and I'm going to work this onto the outer third of the eye. That is so pretty, very pretty. I feel like this is the perfect cohesive little quad. You know, you don't need to think, you can very easily work out where to place these shadows, very beginner friendly. You know, it doesn't take a lot of brain power. Even me, who I'm still like slightly befuddled as to what country I'm in, even I can work out, you know, what to do with them fairly easily. My brain is starting to remember how to make a YouTube video. I haven't filmed for like 2 weeks, so I barely know how to turn the camera on. Okay, so next I'm going to use Sienna Moonlight. Mysterious, and my Rephr 21. This is the shade that speaks to me out of this palette. Like, oh. Okie doke. That is stunning. Oh gosh, I love that type of shade. It's almost like, is it champagne? Is it a little pinky? Is it a little taupey? You know, so gorgeous. Had a little bit of fallout from that shade. Has definitely got sort of the crumbliest formula out of those in the palette. These shadows can be used wet or dry. You know, you could use a bit of Fix Plus or just a wet brush to avoid a bit of that crumbliness. Today I have done my face makeup first, so it's more annoying, but usually I do my eyes first and I don't care about fallout. But I did get a little bit from that shade, not really from the first metallic. Oh gosh, that is so beautiful. What I like to do in these instances is just take a light, fluffy, clean brush and dust her away. You know, no harm, no foul. Much easier to do if you haven't already done your face makeup, obviously. Rookie behaviour over here. I'm then going to take my soft definer from Sonia G and in the matte, because I don't want to go crazy on this lower lash line. Beep. Okay, dokie. And then I'm going to use my Rephr 28 and this stunning little pretty. She is Skin Show Pink Dawn, and it does say in the description that this can be used as a highlighter on the cheeks as well. I'm not going to do that today because I want to show you the blush sticks, like the finish of them, without there being anything else, any colour or like any luminosity coming from anywhere else, because I want to see the finish of those. Give you a little close-up of these peepers. Oh, this is exactly what I was hoping this eyeshadow palette would give me. It's so pretty. Everything worked together beautifully, even though I'm still like half asleep and I didn't even bother to blend these shadows together. It's still so pretty. I love the like gradient that gives me. Oh, these are the sort of colours. I just live for these colours. I know they've been done, but this is pretty. And I think it's a bit lighter than a lot of the quads that I have from Pat McGrath. You know, some of the quads that are sort of in this region of colour story. I feel like this shade is much darker and it just gives you a much more rich, maybe more evening smokier look if you use, you know, a fair bit of the matte, whereas this is, I feel like, much more spring, summer friendly with that colour story. It's so pretty. I know a lot of people don't love the pink packaging, but I appreciate that it's going to be very easy to find in my drawer compared to like the 9 black ones. I like it. It has the same quality as her usual black quad packaging. It looks nice. It has a nice, you know, magnetic closure, and the mirror is decent. So yeah, everything about this says this is probably going to be my new favourite Pat McGrath quad of all time. It's just the colours and the tones that I love. It's so pretty. Be still, my beating heart. And now we move on to these little blushy sticks. These as a product are much less up my street than the quad. You guys know I'm not a cream person generally. There's some creams that I have got on well with, okay, but I'm typically a powder girly and I don't like stick products of any variety. I know that we've talked about, this has been talked about, this packaging. It is light, it feels light, it doesn't feel expensive and luxurious. It has a bit of a rattle in there already, and yeah, I feel like it doesn't give you the usual luxurious feel of Pat McGrath products. But that being said, this is £27 for 7 grams. I think that's one of the lowest price points from the brand. So that is, you know, you are kind of getting what you paid for. I feel like if these were really weighty and kind of comparative to, say, the Westman Atelier sticks that are very heavy, have the magnetic closure instead of the click, and just feel more solid and have that, you know, nice, luxurious, solid feel to them, this would have probably been £10 more. So, you know, I feel like maybe she was trying to keep the cost down of these, make these more travel friendly, make these more attainable for lots of people at the price point, and therefore we've got packaging that does feel cheaper. So the recommended application for these, they kind of say if you want a soft veil of blush, to gently swipe or dot the balm onto the cheeks and then blend with fingers or a brush. If you want more saturation, if you want, you know, more vibrant colour, swipe it directly onto face and blend out the edges for bolder blush looks. Blend with a brush, fingertips or a sponge. I feel like swiping a stick is always a mistake. I just feel like that's like an accident, a nightmare, a disaster waiting to happen. But that's what she said to do. So I'm going to do it, and then I will try the other side with how I would do it, being a nervous cream girl. So I'm going to swipe. So I have foundation on that I haven't set with powder other than under my eyes, and then I applied a light little bit of powder bronzer, the Hermes bronzer, because for me, if I'm going to use a cream product, I don't want to have to use it only with other cream products. Like typically I will have used a powder bronzer, so I want to see, is this completely destroying what's underneath? Is it going to pick up my foundation? Is it dissolving my bronzer? Which I can already tell you it's not, and I'm confused because I was fully convinced that I was heading for a disaster and I was going to be like, haha, Pat, I know better than you. Definitely don't. But I was convinced that like all of my foundation was going to be gone underneath, and it's definitely not. So that's confusing and weird because I don't know how that happened. These feel very gel-like. They feel very thin and balmy, you know, as the name would suggest. Build very nicely. It's absolutely true that you can get, you know, a sheer wash of colour, or you can build up to something with a bit more intensity. So just as per the brand, these will work on a lot of different skin tones. You know, this is the shade Peach Lotus, one of the lighter shades in the collection, and I'm not having any trouble getting, you know, a nice vibrant amount of blush. It's got a lovely dewy finish. It really literally is just applied and it doesn't feel sticky really. Did I just pick that up? Yes, a little bit. That picked up when I touched it, but to be fair, I didn't let it dry down, so we'll see how it goes after dry down. But yes, these are very glowy, balmy, etc. So you've been warned. I'm also going to add this to the lips because it does say it's a multitasker for lips and cheeks. which is again something I typically hate. If something says it's multi-use for eyes, lips and cheeks, I'm like, that's not going on my lips, because usually they feel horrible. Do you know what it doesn't? It feels like a balm on the lips. Surprising, shocking. In fact, very pretty shade, really happy with that colour, beautiful. I do think it's slightly maybe disappeared my bronzer with the way that I applied that as per my instructions. So I'm just going to apply this how I would have if I wasn't trying to listen to a mother. So this is the shade Sunkissed Seduction. I'm going to use my BK Beauty 109 and I'm just going to dabbity-doo-dah on the top, and then I'm going to push it into the skin. And this is how I, a cream product phobe, like to go about my products. I've been played too many times, okay? I've looked ridiculous. It's picked up on my product. I've looked insane one too many times to be swiping stuff on my face, you know? This is like how I feel, like my comfort zone. Oh my God, that's so pretty. Again, another shade, you know, it looks so intimidating, but it's absolutely one that can be used very lightly or built up. These definitely have that sort of versatility across skin tones that they claim to have on the website. Oh my God, which is my favourite? I don't know. I think it's this one. What do you guys think? I mean, I think, to be fair, they applied nicely and better than expected both ways. I do think this side, maybe it was just a little more scary, if nothing else. It took a little bit more sort of blending out. Maybe it slightly picked up more bronzer on that side, but not bad at all. They blend very well. No foundation has been picked up, and they do have a glorious glowy finish. So we have Peach Lotus on this side and Sunkissed Seduction on this side. Oh, I didn't put Sunkissed Seduction on my lips. I'm so sorry. I told you I didn't know what was happening today. Obviously the stick is quite large to like use as a lipstick, so I'm sort of rubbing my finger on the top and swiping on. Again, it's very comfortable on the lips. I'm surprised. I just don't like that at all. I don't like, you know, cheek products, multitasking products on the lips. I always feel like they just don't feel right. They feel like you've put blush on your lips. This feels very nice and comfortable on my lips, and I'm surprised. Well, what do you guys think? Do you have a favourite shade? Which side do you like best? I think this is my favourite, which surprises me because I usually always go peach, but this side is just giving like summer, glowy, bronzy goddess to me. Okay, so let's talk about my first impressions of these products. I'm in love with the eyeshadow quad. I love it. It's beautiful. This colour story is right up my street. Obviously, if you have like Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction, is that the right name? Mothership 5, if you have, I don't know, Mothership X, whatever that one is called. I can't remember the name of anything right now, but these are not shades or colours that we haven't seen from Pat McGrath. There aren't any of her like special shades in here, but this is such a pretty, wearable, flattering colour story for me. I love these colours. I love how easily they blended and worked together and how they just suit each other's combination. Very straightforward. I love that we've got one matte, two metallics and a slightly softer luminizer. I think that's so beautiful, and I just, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love how my eyeshadow looks today. It's perfect, and it's, you know, a little quad. Is it, you know, anything we haven't seen before? No, but it's a really nice cohesive color story that is just right up my street, and everything worked gorgeously. These blush sticks, yes, they do feel cheap. They do feel light and flimsy, and they don't have that luxurious feel that Pat McGrath packaging usually does, but they also, I would say, don't have quite the price tag that Pat McGrath usually has either. So, you know, that is the trade-off. The product itself, as someone who does not like cream products generally and usually hates stick products specifically, I'm pretty wowed. I love how this looks on the skin. So dewy and glowy and fresh and healthy. They were very easy to use, even when I used them in a way that I'm not usually comfortable with. Now they do still have a little bit of tack to them. And I did notice, as I said, that when I touched my face, it picked up. So I don't think these are going to be like super long wearing or like transfer proof, but they are beautiful on the skin, very natural. Obviously they are very travel friendly and purse friendly, so you know, you could easily touch up throughout the day. And to be honest, most cream blushes are, especially with a luminous finish, are not going to be transfer proof or long wearing. That's kind of the nature of the product. You know, it is something that you want to stay glowing, luminous on the skin. It's not going to fully dry down and set like, you know, using a powder blush or using a dry down matte finish cream, like something, for example, like the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty blush ones. Those sort of dry down and kind of set. These are a glowy, luminous, dewy finish blush, so they aren't going to be like transfer proof, bulletproof, long wearing, I don't think. But yeah, they certainly look beautiful. They were easy to use. They gave me a nice amount of colour as well, very buildable, very versatile, and they actually feel nice and look nice on the lips, as though I've used something like a tinted balm, not super dewy and glossy, but they literally just feel like a tinted lip balm. And again, I quite like them on the lips. One slight side note that I would just like to, as a warning to you guys, these arrived while I was out for the day and they were left in my outbuilding, which is in the shade, but it was a sunny, warm day yesterday. And when I got home and I was taking some pictures in the garden, they were like starting to sweat. I don't think these would do well in hot weather. I think if you were, the room where you keep them is very, very warm, or they're in sunlight, they'll probably melt into a puddle. That would be my warning to you, okay? Because they did seem to like start to slightly melt as I was photographing them in the sunlight in my garden yesterday. So just be careful where you leave them, where you store them, and where you take them, because I'm not sure they'd be in one solid piece if they stayed in like 30-degree heat for 10 minutes is my warning. But I don't know that many of these types of products would either. But you know, heads up, I don't want your products melting, is what I'm saying. It would be remiss of me not to warn you about that. So there you have it. Those are all of my initial thoughts on this new quad and blush balms from Pat McGrath. I'm really pleasantly surprised, I think. I don't think I was expecting to love any of these products quite as much as I do. As always, I'll keep using them and I'll give you some more comprehensive thoughts in my June, believe it or not, roundup. I'll let you know any updates, any changes, any further thoughts over the next few weeks of trying these products. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.